Well, let's push on to the topic of the day, bro. We already 23 minutes in, 605 people in the building. I titled my side of this street, Undefeated Teams Get No Respect When It Comes to College Football Rankings. What you got for us?
The problem with college football rankings.
The problem with college football rankings. All right, let's talk about it. Right now, Oregon is 1. We're just talking about basically the top 10. Oregon is 1, Georgia 2, Penn State 3, Ohio State 4, Texas 5, Miami 6, Tennessee 7, LSU 8, Clemson 9, Iowa State 10. Right now, out of the top 10 teams, there are only 4 teams undefeated, with a BYU who is is undefeated at 11. Also, an Indiana who is undefeated at 13. Also, an Army who is undefeated at 23, and a Navy who is undefeated at 24.
And Pittsburgh at 19.
Oh, I missed it. I'm sorry. And Pittsburgh at 19.
When you scroll through it and take a look, when you just glance at it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It don't look right.
So why do you say it doesn't look right? Let's dive into this thing real quick.
Okay, because when you scroll through it, right, you got an undefeated Miami team behind 3 one-loss teams, right?
Mm-hmm. Nah, just go all the way to the right. Yeah, that thing do that with me all the time. Go ahead. An
undefeated Miami team behind 3 loss teams, three one-loss teams. Okay. You got an undefeated Ohio State team behind 7 to 8 one-loss teams. It didn't always used to be like that. Huh?
You said Iowa. I thought you said Ohio State. You said Iowa State. Okay, I'm sorry.
Iowa State, right.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't always used to be like that. But it's almost like what they're trying to tell us is that certain teams are just better than other teams.
Okay.
Which is going to make it that much harder for your team to get to the top because they have deemed certain conferences and teams better than others.
Okay, I'm listening. I got some rebuttals, but I'm listening. Okay, go ahead.
If that's the case, it's going to be almost impossible for certain teams and certain conferences to get to the top. Georgia and Alabama played. Alabama jumped out on Georgia. Georgia came back. Alabama beat them. Both teams stayed in the top 5. Next week, Alabama gets beat by a Vanderbilt team. Everybody keep talking about why Vanderbilt ain't cracking the top 25. You know why? Because Vanderbilt got beat by Georgia State.
Mm-hmm. And guess what they rank right now? 25. 25.
Vanderbilt got beat by Georgia State.
Okay.
It's politics behind this, right? And I know the fan don't want to listen, but it's politics behind ESPN, SEC, the relationship that they have, what they're trying to accomplish, right? They want us to believe that Georgia, Alabama, and these schools are invincible when the number 1 team in the nation, Oregon, I saw it 12 o'clock on a Saturday night, was in a knockdown dragout with Boise State.
Mm-hmm.
The space between these teams aren't what they're trying to make us believe. It's not.
Okay.
These teams aren't. The parity has been in college football, but it's gotten a lot worse. Well, it's gotten a lot better now. Because anybody seems as if anybody can play with anybody. And I think it has a lot to do with continuity, the transfer portal. Yeah, Miami got a defensive coordinator that's been there 2 years in a row. But guess what? Half the defense been there 1 year.
Okay.
Right.
I'm ready. Yeah.
So on any given Saturday, dog, Georgia could lose to a Vanderbilt. And you know what I'm saying? Because you've seen it already.
All right.
So what I'm saying is they want us to believe that, and they want us to condition us to believe that the SEC, the Big Ten are stronger than the other leagues. And they have pushed this narrative in front of our face, and then you start believing it.
Okay.
And once they do that, now you're locking up the top 10, bro. You're locking it up because you're just switching teams around that you want to switch around. You saw Texas look like trash the other day. But they played against Georgia. Well, you saw Georgia look like trash. But they played against Alabama. Well, Alabama played against Vanderbilt. They look like trash.
Okay, so here's my rebuttal. And I've actually had this conversation with a good friend of mine. First thing I'm going to say is, and we'll go back on the block for a second. Hold on.
Uh-huh.
We'll go back on the block, and then we'll bring that back up. Can't never miss the action back there. Here's what I'll say. The very first thing that's wrong with college football when it comes to this is you have rankings and you have conference championships. And that right there is a problem. To me, it is conflicting. Because you want to rank teams, but you also want to have a conference champion. College football is the only one that does this. High school, Pop Warner, NFL, CFL, Canadian Football League. Nobody else does this. I don't even think other sports do it, where they want to rank you and have championships. That's what makes it conflicting. So you have to eliminate one or the other, in my opinion. You have to either eliminate rankings or eliminate conference stuff because it's conflicting. Also, what is conflicting or what could hurt you, in my opinion, is the prediction of the ranking of a team, right? Before the season starts, we definitely seeing it now in college football. This team is ranked here, 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 and here. And you got a Kansas who was in the top 25, they 1-5 or 2-7. Oregon State was in the top 25. They're not even seen anymore. I'm just saying there are a lot of teams that were in the top list, and then Indiana wasn't even in it. They ranked 13th. BYU was supposed to be the bottom of the barrel. They're not even in it. Now they ranked 11th. Iowa State wasn't supposed to be good. They ranked now 10th. There is one issue. The second issue is when we look at these rankings of undefeated teams, now you want to take in consideration strength of schedule. When you add strength of schedule, there now lies the problem because strength of schedule affects your ranking. It doesn't affect your level in your conference. This is just about wins and losses in your conference. But when we rank you, we're looking at strength of schedule. And when you look at Oregon, Georgia, Penn State, Ohio State, Texas, their strength of schedule, y'all know I love my Canes to death, but I got to take my fan hat off and put my analytical hat on and say they all have lost to ranked opponents. Texas lost to the number what? 17. No, what were they? 5 team last week. Ohio State was 2-3, and they lost to Oregon, which Oregon's still undefeated. Penn State is still undefeated. So therein lies the strength of schedule problem. Because they're saying, okay, Miami, you are 7-0. True indeed. But you haven't played one ranked opponent, even within the ranking. You came back against a Cal, right? You had to fight back against a Cal because everybody talked about, you talked about Boise State. Fine, right? But they won the game. But you look at Cal. What is Cal record right now? They are 3-2 right now.
3.
At the time in which they played them, they were 3-2. So, you fought back against a Virginia Tech and won. So we haven't played a ranked opponent. So with that being said, I personally don't see how they can put us above any of that. But here's the funny thing. We already know what difference does it make. If they're taking the conference champions and they got the first 4 spots. That's what I'm saying. So it's all a money grab. So if they're taking the first 4 spots, 5 spots, a G5 as well, to the conference champions.
Right.
So who gets the other spots? The runner-up? No, because the conference champion runner-up may not be in the last 8 spots left or 7 spots left. That's what makes this whole thing confusing.
But it's not, because if your kids entered the bake sale contest at school, right? You got 5 kids, and they all enter the bake sale contest.
Mm-hmm.
Then they choose you to be over the bake sale league.
Okay.
And you rank your kids 1 through 5.
Okay.
And they got to do a bake sale off where Johnny goes against Mark and Mark goes against Johnny. You started your kids off with a head start. And now you're saying, well, my daughter, Katie, 5-year-old, was ranked number 4 when this all started. But you did that too.
Agreed.
So it goes back to the ranking and how they're saying they want, you know what I'm saying?
That's why I say, but that's why I say let the players play. The college football is the only one that does this. Nobody ranks anybody. You have to play for your spot. In order to get into the AFC, NFC championship game, you got to win ball games in your conference. You can lose all of the out-of-conference games you want, but in your conference, and they do that in college, you can lose. That's why they have a conference and they have an overall. They got a conference record and they have an overall record.
Right.
So the overall record affects your ranking, but it doesn't affect your conference standing. And that's the problem. So that's how you can get a Purdue versus Michigan when they had 2 separate sections of it. You know, East and West, I think they called it in the Big Ten at the time.
If Miami hasn't been great the last 2 years. They look good this year. They were mediocre last year. Texas A&M came into Miami last year and got throttled.
True.
Miami goes to Florida this year and throttle them.
Mm-hmm. Which is a team that's not supposed to be that good.
Guess who's the number 1 team in the SEC right now?
In the SEC, Georgia?
Probably, as far as rankings and losses in the SEC.
Oh, probably Penn State because they got more conference wins. No?
Texas A&M.
Good call, Coach. And they ranked 14, 6-1. That's my point. Thank you.
Texas A&M is sitting at the top of the SEC right now, which is like halfway through the season, right? Mm-hmm. But they came to Miami last year and got throttled by a mediocre Miami team. And we want us to believe that SEC football, right? It's just head and heels over everybody else.
I hear you, and again, what you're saying is not wrong. However,
one more thing. We talked about this last week. They have an unusual weak SEC schedule. Texas A&M does. But when they took their ass to Notre Dame, they got beat. And then Notre Dame waltzed in there and lost to Northern Illinois.
Okay.
Bro,
and you know why this is.
Whoever in here listening to this, y'all 700 people, I want y'all to believe this shit is smoke and mirrors. They're trying to make y'all believe that nobody in the world could play with Georgia, Ohio State. You know what I'm saying? They want you to believe this. But Alabama is looking more and more like a normal team every day.
All right.
Texas could not figure out which quarterback they wanted to play Saturday. Hayes?
It's right. And so here's what I'm going to tell you, Street. You know this answer, and I'm going to see if you can give it to you. Shout out to Flo. Flo, appreciate you, brother, man, for the well wishes. Thank you for the Miami Flo and the Flo team. Appreciate you, man, for the well wishes. While I was out. Hey, Flo, guess what week this is? FSU hate week, baby. I'll be down there Let's make it happen, dog. I'm on that virgin cane juice this weekend, unfortunately. Guess what? Save me a little cup in the back. Coach, meet you around the corner.
Anyway. Nah, Gio, Texas A&M number 1. LSU number 2, Gio. What's Gio in here, man? What's up, Gio?
For the ranking.
Yeah.
For the SEC.
Go ahead.
So to your point, you know, and I know you know this answer. But the only reason, see, this was funny. Only reason Texas A&M is truly number 1. Why? Not because of their overall record, but because of what? They have one more conference win than everybody else.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Right. So here goes the question. Now, if LSU gets one conference win, I don't know who they play this week, and let's say Texas A&M plays a non-conference game, now they tied. In essence, right? So it's still early. I get it. This right here is a living organism. You know what I mean? However, here's my question to you. Why do you think SEC gets all this love? There's only one answer. You know the answer.
Because college football is the ESPN Invitational. That's what somebody said in our group in our Village membership today. In the membership, college football is the ESPN Invitational, and ESPN is all in on the SEC when it comes to money.
Thank you.
And business.
Last word. The last word you just said. All the other stuff is great. Money. The fans travel well. The fans are going to show up. SEC schools have 100,000 seat stadiums. I don't know any other conference that consistently a lot of their teams have 100,000+ seat stadiums. Maybe some of the top Big Ten schools, maybe, but a lot of the SEC.
This is about TV rights, though. This is about viewership too.
It is about viewership, but it's also about all of it. I think if you put 100,000 people in the seats, everybody can't get a ticket or not going to go. Plus, let's be honest. We are Miami Hurricane fans, true and through. But how many of us would rather watch Texas versus Georgia than Pitt versus Boston College? And that's the point, right? I'm just saying, how many of us are sitting down, if these two games are on at the same exact time, we'll rather watch I'm just saying, if you had to pick a game to watch, you got one TV and one channel like we did back in the day. How many of y'all would rather watch Tennessee versus LSU versus Duke play Virginia? How many of us would rather watch?
But what you're saying is what they have built up. They have built these brands of these teams up for us to want to, you know what I'm saying? For us want to, because we think, you know what I'm saying? For us want to watch them.
I know, but what I'm saying is, okay, I'm gonna take the top of SEC versus the top of ACC. Somebody said pick better teams. How many of y'all? And I'm trying to exclude Miami because I know there's a lot of Miami fans in here because I know how that is going to go.
And how many Miami ratings be off the chart?
How many of y'all will watch Clemson versus SMU? That's number 1 versus number 3 in the conference currently right now. Versus, and SMU is kind of, because y'all gonna be like, I want to see the old Miami Hurricane play. Y'all love ready to bash them. Y'all can't wait to talk about Rooster. Or would you rather watch Texas A&M, who is ranked 1, versus LSU, who's ranked number 1? I had to be honest. I would rather watch LSU versus Texas A&M over SMU and Clemson. Me personally.
I think most people would. It's because of the brands. It's because of what's been built up.
Yeah.
But Texas A&M ain't no better than SMU. No.
When it comes to record, it may be a good game. I don't know. But you also have to remember the longevity too. And again, Street, I'm disagreeing with you, but you are not wrong. What I'm saying is why this is the way it is because also, where was the top talent coming from? The Southeastern region way back. That's why these teams were built up the way they were built up. the Alabamas and the this and the that, the Florida. I mean, we think about the longevity of football, right? The Midwest and the Southeast is where football, the kind of the blue bloods, I guess, if that's what you want to really call it. We are now looking at new age football. So they have, bro, you got like Michigan been playing since 1800. These teams been playing when they had, like Miami is new football. Like that's new age football. These teams got fan bases, bro. They got fan bases that name their kids after the dang on team.
But I think Miami will rival with all of them when it comes to viewership. Like I think people choose to watch Miami. Miami have some of the highest ratings
when we're good.
And Miami fan base been traveling like a mug, boy. Somebody was telling me that. They were saying, well, Miami is good. The fan base travels.
Right. And the difference is when these teams are bad, they still be sold. They be selling out. Because we are in a different bracket.
But you think about it. Think about the NFL. What if the NFL starts saying that? Hey man, we gonna hey refs, y'all side with Dallas because people rather watch Dallas. So y'all side with Dallas and help the call. You know what I'm saying? Like it can't be like that. Like that's it can't be like that because the fact of the matter is that Washington and Michigan was in the national championship last year.
Well, we're starting to see a turn in college football. Like we are living through the evolution of college football as it's moving through the transfer portal and NIL deals. So we're not, for example, like the 3-point line. I don't know when they did it, 80 something. I was young, but I've always remembered a 3-point line growing up. But imagine the people who came up in basketball when they introduced the 3-point line. And think about how many shots were being missed when people tried to shoot a 3-point line. Like, man, just take it to the rim. And you had that guy back there. Now, people don't even hardly shoot twos anymore. You got 7 foot, eight dudes out here just jacking threes from half court. Steph Curry like this. Hey, Steph Curry out here drinking. What's the young lady? I think she played with the Globetrotters. I think it's a little short. But it's a young lady. She be at half court shooting them backwards. And they tell me, oh, she got magnets in the ball and stuff. She just making them. So we're seeing the evolution of the game, and it'll settle itself down, kind of like the stock market, right? It's getting rocked a little bit, and it'll settle down, and that's kind of how I look at it in that sense.
People really talking about Alabama coach being fired, man. Are y'all serious, man?
Yeah, dog.
Especially Miami fans. If you're a Miami fan and you talk about Alabama coach being fired, just shut up. Just shut up. Just shut up. That was that emotional shit we were just talking about. Just shut up.
Yeah.
Because you sat through 5 and 6 and 7 and 5. Now tell me this, Hayes.
Talk to me.
Miami got 3 one-loss teams in front of it. Can't seem to move up and crack the top 5.
Okay.
Miami ain't playing nobody. Look at their strength of schedule. So you don't take in factor that Miami may have the number 1 college football player on their team. That doesn't get factored in nowhere.
I think it does if you beat VTech and Cal convincingly. If you put 21 on Cal, if you beat them by 21, if you beat VTech, no, literally, we're 2 plays away from being 4-2, dog. So I think that did matter. The fact that, okay, here's your strength of schedule. Everybody talk about how weak our schedule is. We got the number 1 player in college football. We got all this firepower, and we beat Cal by $1. We beat VTech on a photo finish. We in a shootout with Louisville this week, which I understand. They had a very good offense. However, I don't think the Louisville win, if we beat those other 2, I don't think that hurts us as bad. But if you add it with the Cal VTech wins, and then the shootout with Louisville basically beating them by 7, there you go. Now it's like they up here, but are they for real or not? That's why I said
we gotta destroy teams.
We have to, because you're not in the SEC.
Listen, I saw Georgia just struggle with Kentucky. I saw it with my own eyes. And then I saw Georgia down 28-0 the next week.
Yeah.
With my own eye. I saw it. We all saw it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, we all saw it. We saw Georgia struggle with Kentucky. And then we saw Georgia this close to being blowed out.
Mm-hmm.
But then you look at Miami and be like, y'all struggle with Virginia Tech, who got one of the better quarterbacks in college football. Y'all struggle with Cal at 10 o'clock on the West Coast.
But here, okay, so to the flip to that. On the flip side of that, Georgia beats the number 9 ranked Clemson, 34-3. Georgia struggles with Kentucky, true indeed. They lose to Bama, true indeed. They beat Auburn, which is not very good, but again, 31-13.
See, there we go. That Auburn credit is us getting credit for Virginia Tech.
But you're right. But the problem is we beat Virginia Tech on a photo finish versus beating them 31-13. That's what I'm saying. We struggle with a V Tech, but they beat their lower opponents 31-13. They go play Mississippi State 41-31. Then they come back. Hold on. Then they come back and actually kind of wipe away the Kentucky win struggle with a convincing win over the number 1 ranked Texas. Like that's what helped them. They beat the number 1 ranked Texas convincingly. Like that's what ended up pushing them because they have significant wins. That's what I can say they balance.
You put your kids at the top of the bakery rankings. You put Dan and little Katie. You did that. And now you're saying, well, look, my kids, y'all gotta beat my kids. Well, you the one saying they got the best pound cake. So we get no credit for blowing out Florida, from the mighty SEC.
Because they bad.
Well, they're not as bad as we thought they was. They're trying to fight back. They're doing something right now. They got more wins than we all thought they would ever have. we thought they were saying it right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in essence,
bro, this is crazy. How can we put Gabe? Can we put Gabe in a cellar somewhere for the next 30 minutes or something, dog? This is unbelievable, bro. This is just what we were just talking about. This is just what we were talking about. Can we put Gabe in a little cellar or something and like put a muzzle on him for 30 minutes and make him watch the show without talking?
Like this. Hey, do one of these when he finish.
No. One more 70-yard bomb and these dudes want Goodry fired, dog.
No,
the best defensive coordinator I think we had in a long time.
Don't go back to the Heck Center. Take your anything Miami issued off right there. Let him go home in his drawers.
Unbelievable, dog. That's the emotions we was talking about right there.
But okay, so here's my point. And here's what I think people don't take in consideration either. Everybody wants every week to be a blowout, right?
Uh-huh.
So to Rodney right here, he says Florida almost beat number 7 Tennessee, but they're awful. You're right. They almost beat them. Everybody's going to be up, down. It's football. However, they did not beat them. Just like Cal didn't beat us, just like VTech didn't beat us. But when it comes to the optics of voters, this is what they're looking at. So I get what you're saying. I hear you. But that's the same way saying you Kentucky beat but then they lost to damn, who did they just lose to? Who beat Georgia? I mean, they was in a fight with Georgia, right? So they was in a fight with Georgia, but in the same breath, we could look at Kentucky and say, okay, y'all beat 18th ranked Ole Miss, but then lost the 25 ranked Vanderbilt. Then Florida beat Kentucky by 28 points. So football is kind of all over the place. I mean, it's not an exact science. And that's why I think you should leave it up to the teams on the field and use their record as like everybody else does in the world and not ranking them.
Mark Collins said, didn't Cal beat Auburn?
Yes.
No, it is not what these people want you to think, though. It's not. It is not what they want you to think.
But lost to Florida State. Cal beat Auburn. They lose to Florida State, and they come up. They jump out on us. Like we are literally in the middle.
I think that's 10 o'clock out west. You send any team out west, 10 o'clock college game day, they finna fight for their life. I'm calling it right now. They're gonna fight for their life. I'm calling it right now. They're gonna fight to get up out of there, bro.
Well, I get it.